Kalashi.
This is the moment when Ella's life changed forever. November 21st, 2023, the day he was arrested and officially registered as a sex offender. However, what most people don't know is that his rampage on the UCSD campus lasted for 13 days. 13 days of terror where multiple women were stalked, groped, and physically assaulted by this 22-year-old TikToker. But this arrest wasn't the beginning of his dark journey. For years, Avaneesh had been creating increasingly disturbing content on TikTok, expressing his hatred for Indian women and his obsession with white and Latino women. In fact, he even created a tier list ranking races by attractiveness, placing Indian women below chimpanzees, cacti, and even men. This level of self-hatred combined with misogyny would eventually lead to his downfall. Nevertheless, to understand how someone becomes this twisted, we need to go back to where it all started, his high school years in Sugar Land, Texas, where classmates remember him as the kid who masturbated in school bathrooms and wrote cringe-worthy songs to ask girls out. Avaneesh Kanala was born on September 25, 2001 in Austin, Texas, to parents from Hyderabad, India. His family moved to Sugar Land, an affluent suburb of Houston known for its diverse Asian American population. During his time at Jules High School and later Clemens High School, Avaneesh displayed disturbing behavior patterns that would foreshadow his future crimes. According to multiple classmates, he had no close friends and would eat lunch alone or hide in bathrooms. Specifically speaking, his desperate need for attention led him to create a drama page for his high school on Instagram. But here's the twisted part. He was quickly exposed as the account owner because he kept posting unnaturally positive things about himself. However, his most notorious high school behavior was being caught masturbating in the school bathroom. According to his classmates, Avaneesh would go to the bathroom with his school-issued laptop and his phone almost every day at the same time, and the school administrators were aware of it too. He was caught multiple times and photographed at least twice.
Avaneesh's album dropped.
Unfortunately, Avaneesh's attempts at gaining popularity through music were equally disturbing. He wrote multiple songs, including With the Gang and Valedictorian, which he would play loudly on the school bus. His lyrics were not just bad, they were creepy. Songs like asking girls not to ever leave my side while comparing their eyes to diamonds revealed his possessiveness and obsessive nature toward women. But the music was just the beginning. Avaneesh faced multiple accusations of harassment during high school. He was reported to school administration for following and harassing a 14-year-old girl when he was 17 or 18.
Avaneesh update possibly getting kicked out of his third school.
These weren't minor incidents. The messages he sent to victims were explicitly sexual and threatening. One victim shared screenshots showing his persistent harassment and inappropriate comments. As a result, Avaneesh received 2 restraining orders and was banned from his high school campus after graduation. This pattern of behavior toward younger girls would unfortunately continue throughout his life. Nevertheless, according to Avaneesh himself, his hatred for Indian women began in 9th grade when he was rejected by 2 Indian girls. In his own words, captured in a now deleted TikTok, "In 9th grade, I was rejected by everybody. But honestly, I feel like Indian girls, they're not my type. Brown girls are not my type." However, he didn't stop there. He actually named 3 specific Indian girls from his high school who he claimed bullied him into preferring white girls. This public shaming of his former classmates showed his vindictive nature.
Calling Avaneesh as a fake UCSD professor.
Avaneesh?
Hello?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I was just coming back from somewhere.
It's fine. I mean, I have time. It should be quick either way.
Okay.
The reason I'm calling you is because of a TikTok in particular. Let me see if I could pull it up here.
Okay.
Last semester, my roommate moved in early. You urinated on his desk is what I'm getting.
Oh, that was
And I'm just, because I have in my file that last semester you were enrolled at UCSD, and I want to confirm that this did not happen in one of our dorm rooms.
No, it didn't happen. Okay, the story was, like, it didn't happen here. It was, like, before I transferred, like,
And that's from University of Houston?
Yeah, so, like, it was, like, spring 2022 in, like, University of Houston. Like I peed in a cup, and the cup fell over. So that was at University of Houston.
Okay.
After high school, Avaneesh attended the University of Houston, aspiring to become a doctor. But his behavior only got worse. He failed organic chemistry twice, a prerequisite for medical school, while becoming increasingly obsessed with white and Latino women in his classes. At age 20, he sent explicit messages and photos to a 14-year-old girl. The messages were so disturbing that the university police were called, though they only gave him a warning. Furthermore, his roommate caught him masturbating with his genitals exposed in their shared dorm room. This pattern of public behavior from high school was clearly continuing into adulthood. During college, Avaneesh began creating TikTok content that would make him notorious in brown TikTok. The algorithm created space for South Asian content. His videos were deeply disturbing, featuring him dancing shirtless and moaning while filming his bare stomach, calling himself a 9 out of 10 for his ethnicity, dubbing himself the brown Justin Bieber, and creating tier lists ranking races by attractiveness. His most shocking content was a tier list placing Indian women below chimpanzees, cacti, gorillas, and men. This level of hatred combined with misogyny attracted attention from online communities tracking lolcows, internet personalities who provide entertainment through their outrageous behavior. The most disturbing chapter of Avaneesh's story began on November 8, 2023, when he transferred to UC San Diego. What started as typical harassment quickly escalated into physical assault. For 13 days, Avaneesh stalked and harassed women around campus. But it wasn't just verbal harassment. He began physically grabbing women. In one incident, witnesses describe him pinning a woman to the ground before being shoved off by bystanders. Fortunately, his rampage ended on November 21st when multiple women came forward to police. The evidence was overwhelming. Security footage, witness testimonies, and victim statements painted a clear picture of systemic assault.
I mean, I've been a bit weird with girls back in high school, but I have actually assaulted or touched a girl in my life.
People are starting to figure out what I did in high school. What did you do in high school? I sexually harassed her.
Part of the battle, everything changed. I love code.
Ortega. I would go with Jenna Ortega. But you're never gonna get with Jenna Ortega. It's never gonna happen. Oh yeah, it will.
What the previous section didn't cover was the absolute nightmare that Avaneesh's roommates endured during his time at the University of Houston. The disturbing behavior extended far beyond simple, inappropriate conduct. His first roommate's experience was so traumatic that it forced them to move out by winter break. During the holiday period when most students go home, Avaneesh remained in the dorms. But instead of using this time for self-reflection or improvement, he descended into even more disgusting behavior. Too lazy to walk to the bathroom, Avaneesh began urinating in plastic cups. But the horror didn't stop there. He would leave these cups filled with pee on his roommate's desk, and through either carelessness or malice, he would knock them over, spilling the contents across the workspace. The spilled urine would remain uncleaned for weeks, creating a pungent, foul odor that permeated the room. Combined with his refusal to take out trash, the dormitory became a complete dump, a biohazard that violated basic human decency. When his new roommate arrived at the end of winter break, they discovered the urine-soaked desk and trash scattered everywhere. The conditions were so appalling that the roommate moved out within minutes of arriving, refusing to spend even a single night in such conditions. Avaneesh was assigned yet another roommate, who arrived to find the same disgusting conditions. This roommate, showing more patience than anyone should have to display, actually cleaned up the urine from the desk with help from his father. The new roommate managed to tolerate Avaneesh's presence until the end of the semester, but the situation had already attracted administrative attention. School officials began requesting that Avaneesh cease his misogynistic and racist content creation. The administration even threatened disciplinary action, particularly after the incident where he sent pictures of his genitals to a This threat initiated a process that would likely have resulted in his expulsion had he not strategically transferred to another institution. While still at the University of Houston, Avaneesh applied as a transfer student to Purdue University. His application was initially successful, and he was accepted to the prestigious institution. True to his attention-seeking nature, Avaneesh couldn't resist flaunting his acceptance on TikTok. This decision would prove to be his downfall, as it attracted the attention of current Purdue students and brown TikTok users, who were already familiar with his disturbing content. Multiple people, including current Purdue students, contacted the university administration. They requested access to Avaneesh's disciplinary records and began investigating his background more thoroughly. The investigation revealed that Avaneesh had lied about his high school record, deliberately omitting information about his harassment incidents and restraining orders. This deception constituted application fraud, and as a result, Purdue rescinded his acceptance over the summer. The exposure of Avaneesh's high school behavior, combined with a successful campaign to have him rescinded from Purdue, led to a dramatic confrontation with his father. This confrontation was captured on livestream, though some viewers questioned its authenticity. The father's words were harsh and devastating. Accusations of harassment, expressions of regret about his son's birth, and a complete cutting off of financial support. Whether staged or genuine, the emotional impact was clear.
Yup, and I do. Let me know, girl, what you want to do. Give me something, I'll give it to you.
The disownment appeared to have immediate financial consequences. Avaneesh's father locked his accounts and refused to provide any further support, leaving his son to fend for himself financially. Cut off from family support, Avaneesh attempted to earn money through DoorDash delivery services. However, his inability to control his impulses led to yet another failure. Multiple times, Avaneesh would eat the food he was supposed to deliver to customers. This blatant violation of his duties as a delivery driver quickly got him banned from the platform.
You eating my food.
Ahmed.
You eating my food.
Ahmed.
You eating my food.
Okay.
You ate my food. You ate my food. Why is the bag open? Why is the bag open?
No.
Why is the bag open? No what? You said what, bro? 1 second what? 1 second what? 1 second what? Look at the camera. Look at the camera.
Okay.
What's your name? What's your name?
Abdul.
Abdel what?
Yeah.
Abdel what?
1 second, please.
1 second what? 1 second what? Give me one reason I shouldn't. Give me one reason. Give me one reason I shouldn't.
Second.
Go in.
Sorry, man.
Give me the food.
This incident perfectly encapsulated Avaneesh's pattern of self-sabotage. Even when given legitimate opportunities to improve his situation, he would invariably find ways to destroy them through his own poor decisions. Despite the dramatic disownment, evidence suggests that Avaneesh's relationship with his family, particularly regarding financial support, was eventually restored. His ability to afford daily DoorDash orders from Taco Bell indicates ongoing financial assistance. Even more concerning was his practice of paying sorority girls to sleep in his room, proposing access to discretionary income that wouldn't be available to someone truly cut off from family support. When Avaneesh crashed his car in a particularly disturbing incident involving masturbation while driving, he was able to obtain a replacement vehicle, further indicating continued family financial support. Learning from the Purdue disaster, Avaneesh adopted a strategy of secrecy regarding his next college transfer. He would occasionally boast on TikTok about transferring to a UC school and a top 3 public school, but refused to name the specific institution. However, his secrecy was short-lived. Students at UC San Diego discovered his name listed in the university directory, immediately triggering alarm bells throughout the campus community. The discovery led to extensive discussion on the UCSD subreddit, where students began sharing information about Avaneesh's background and expressing concern about his presence on campus. Even before arriving on campus, Avaneesh's future roommates had discovered his identity and background. They came forward publicly, expressing their concerns about being forced to live with someone with his history. The revelation of his presence triggered immediate action from the UCSD student community. They contacted school administration and even organized petitions calling for his expulsion before he could cause harm on campus. However, UCSD administration initially refused to take action, stating that Avaneesh had not yet broken any campus rules. This decision would prove to be tragically short-sighted. The controversy surrounding Avaneesh's presence had immediate practical consequences. One of his assigned roommates changed rooms before even moving in, while another changed rooms within just 5 hours of arrival. As a result, Avaneesh spent his entire semester at UCSD without a roommate, living alone in what should have been shared accommodation. This isolation, rather than encouraging self-reflection, seemed to enable his worst behaviors. His room location was eventually discovered when he live-streamed himself raiding women on campus from his dorm room. During the stream, someone banged on his door, creating noise that was audible to viewers and startling Avaneesh. Avaneesh's presence at UCSD didn't go unnoticed by local media. He was featured in both the UCSD Guardian and the San Diego Union Tribune for his controversial views and online content. The media coverage, combined with his distinctive appearance and behavior, made him easily recognizable on campus. Students began sharing his location and warning others about his presence. Avaneesh's living conditions at UCSD were as disturbing as his behavior. He refused to put bedsheets on his bed or arrange his room in any civilized manner. Instead of using his bed, he chose to sleep on the couch in his room. Most disturbingly, he had designated a specific spot on his couch for his bodily fluids after masturbation, and he would not clean up afterward. His refusal to take out trash or clean his room led to multiple complaints from other residents on his floor. The resident advisor repeatedly threatened disciplinary action if he didn't improve his hygiene standards. In one of his most pathetic attempts at social interaction, Avaneesh contacted a white blonde sorority girl via direct message. He offered to pay her and 2 friends $30 each to spend the night. Using an opportunity to exploit his desperation, negotiated the price up to $40 per person. Avaneesh agreed and sent the money in advance. Unsurprisingly, the girls never showed up, successfully scamming out of $120. This incident reportedly triggered another temporary disownment from his father. Around this time, Avaneesh participated in a boxing match against another individual popular on Brown TikTok. The match was likely organized as entertainment for the online community. The result was predictable and humiliating. Avaneesh was absolutely destroyed in the ring, adding physical humiliation to his growing list of failures and public harassments. One of the most disturbing incidents occurred during a late-night drive-through a heavily wooded area. Avaneesh was simultaneously driving and masturbating, leading to a predictable loss of control. His inability to focus on driving while engaged in sexual activity resulted in him crashing into a tree. The incident perfectly encapsulated his complete lack of self-control and disregard for safety. Avaneesh posted several videos about the crash, though these have since been lost. His willingness to share such embarrassing and disturbing content demonstrated his disconnect from social norms. Avaneesh's inappropriate behavior extended into his academic environment. During one of his biology classes, he decided to go live on social media while in session. During the live stream, he made numerous inappropriate remarks about his professor and even used his fingers to fondle her image on his phone screen in a disturbing display of virtual harassment. The incident was reported to university administration, and the professor rightfully refused to see him for in-person classes. He was effectively banned from attending the class in person. Avaneesh's response was to make a weak apology, claiming that his behavior was just a fake personality he adopted for TikTok live streams. This excuse was rightfully rejected, and the class remained online only for the remainder of the session. Beginning in November 2023, Avaneesh's behavior escalated from inappropriate online content and personal harassment to physical sexual assault. This marked the beginning of what can only be described as a reign of terror on the UCSD campus. At least 8 separate women made reports to police about Avaneesh's behavior during this period. These weren't minor incidents of awkward social interaction, they were serious cases of stalking, harassment, and battery. One of the most serious incidents involved Avaneesh deliberately blocking a woman's path as she tried to walk across campus. When she attempted to go around him, he chest bumped her, then grabbed her by the waist and physically held her down. The woman was forced to physically shove him off of her to escape his grip. This incident, witnessed by multiple bystanders, demonstrated that Avaneesh had crossed the line from online harassment to physical assault. The accumulation of evidence and victim testimonies led to Avaneesh's arrest on November 21, 2023. The evidence against him was overwhelming and included security footage, witness statements, and victim testimonies. Avaneesh was found guilty on multiple counts of stalking and sexual battery. The legal system, finally confronted with concrete evidence of his escalating behavior, delivered appropriate consequences. His sentencing included placement on the sex offender registry for 10 years, 2 years of parole supervision, and immediate suspension from UCSD. The university also expelled him completely, resulting in the loss of $90,000 in tuition. Even after his conviction, Avaneesh attempted to apply to Purdue again. His persistence in targeting the same institution that had already rejected him demonstrated a complete inability to learn from his mistakes. Once again, he omitted crucial information during his application process, including his recent felony convictions and sex offender status. This pattern of deception had become his standard operating procedure. Purdue, having already dealt with his dishonesty once before, quickly rejected his application when his criminal record was discovered. His reputation had preceded him, making acceptance impossible. Surprisingly, Avaneesh was successful in gaining acceptance to Ohio State University. This acceptance raised serious questions about the university's background check procedures and admission standards. The acceptance suggested that Ohio State was either unaware of his criminal history or had policies that were more lenient towards students with felony convictions and sex offender status. Rather than expressing remorse or attempting genuine rehabilitation, Avaneesh chose to rebrand himself as Felon Avaneesh on social media. This decision revealed how completely out of touch he was with reality and social expectations. His social media presence continued to feature disturbing content, including discussions of his criminal status and ongoing inappropriate behavior. The rebranding seemed to celebrate rather than acknowledge his crimes. Unfortunately for Avaneesh, his criminal behavior has serious financial consequences. After losing his UCSD tuition, his father refused to co-sign loans for his Florida education, leaving him in significant debt. Nevertheless, he continues to pursue medical school, apparently believing that showing fake remorse will somehow overcome his criminal record and history of sexual assault. But the story gets even darker. On January 29, 2025, screenshots surfaced on Reddit, allegedly showing Avaneesh saying he only finds little girls attractive and is unattracted to grown women. However, perhaps the most disturbing is his habit of masturbating to photos of women and posting about it on his public Instagram story. When his probation officer received complaints about this behavior, it was revealed that some of these women were minors. In a live stream, When asked if he knew some girls were underage, Avaneesh responded, "Most of them no, but obviously, from now on, I'll make sure they're 18 plus." Looking at Avaneesh's history, there's a clear pattern of escalation that began with harassment and bathroom incidents in high school, progressed to sexual messages to minors in college, escalated to physical assault and stalking at UCSD. It continues with ongoing sexual misconduct involving minors. This pattern suggests someone who has never truly faced consequences severe enough to change his behavior. Each incident seems to embolden him further, leading to increasingly serious crimes. His current living situation reflects his continued dysfunction. He lives in squalid conditions, sleeping on a bed without sheets, walking hours to probation appointments, and spending his time creating disturbing social media content. Avaneesh's current behavior appears to violate multiple terms of his probation. His continued creation of sexual content, his admission to inappropriate behavior with minors, and his public celebration of his criminal status all propose ongoing violations. His probation officer has reportedly received multiple complaints about his behavior, but enforcement appears to be inconsistent. This lack of strict supervision enables his continued inappropriate conduct. Continued probation violations could result in additional jail time, extended probation periods, or more restrictive supervision conditions. However, the system's response has been inadequate to prevent his ongoing misconduct. Despite his criminal record and ongoing behavioral issues, Avaneesh continues to pursue medical school admission. This pursuit demonstrates a complete disconnect from reality and the standards of the medical profession. Medical schools conduct thorough background checks, including criminal history, character assessments, and psychological evaluations. His offender status and history of assault would automatically disqualify him from admission. Even if he somehow gained admission to medical school, he would face insurmountable barriers to medical licensing. State medical boards would never grant a license to someone with his criminal history and pattern of sexual misconduct. The medical profession's primary concern is patient safety, particularly the safety of vulnerable populations. Avaneesh's history of targeting minors and his ongoing inappropriate behavior make him an unacceptable risk to patients. Throughout this entire saga, it's crucial to remember that Avaneesh's actions have caused real harm to real people. His victims include high school classmates, college students, and the women he assaulted at UCSD. These victims have experienced harassment, stalking, sexual assault, and ongoing intimidation. Many have required counseling, legal assistance, and ongoing support to deal with the trauma he caused. The courage shown by these victims in coming forward and reporting his behavior cannot be overstated. Their willingness to speak out likely prevented additional assaults and helped ensure his conviction. For many victims, the trauma doesn't end with his conviction. They continue to deal with the psychological effects of his actions, and his ongoing public presence serves as a constant reminder of their experiences. Internet communities have played a crucial role in documenting Avaneesh's behavior and warning potential victims. These communities serve as an early warning system and evidence repository. His case has led to increased awareness about campus safety and the importance of taking early warning signs seriously. Many institutions have reviewed their policies regarding student conduct and safety. The widespread documentation of his behavior has raised awareness about the dangers of online predators and the importance of reporting inappropriate behavior before it escalates. Avaneesh's case reveals multiple systemic failures in how institutions handle concerning behavior, from his high school's inadequate response to the harassment, to universities' failure to properly vet transfer students, to the inconsistent enforcement of probation terms. Many of the warning signs were present for years before his arrest. The pattern of escalation was clear, but institutions repeatedly failed to take appropriate action until physical assaults occurred. His case highlights the need for better information sharing between institutions, more thorough background checks for transfer students, and stricter enforcement of probation terms for sex offenders.
Now, Mr. Badalek, I want to talk about this specific case challenging the automatic registration of a person who's convicted of 2 or more offenses. What can you tell me of the background of the case involving Mr. Nedelevu and what you think our viewers need to know about it?
Sure. I mean, this is a case that happened all the way back in 2011, really shortly after the law was amended, removing judicial discretion to be exempted from the registry. So this is a circumstance where a teenager went to a party that had a
Despite his conviction and registration as a sex offender, Avaneesh continues to pose a threat to public safety. His ongoing inappropriate behavior and lack of genuine remorse suggest he'll likely reoffend. The current level of supervision appears inadequate to prevent future incidents. His ability to continue creating disturbing content and his admission to inappropriate behavior with minors demonstrate that current measures are insufficient. Mental health professionals and law enforcement experts would likely classify him as a high-risk individual for future offenses. His pattern of escalation and lack of rehabilitation recommend continued danger. The story of Avaneesh Kanala serves as a textbook example of how unchecked antisocial behavior can escalate from minor incidents to serious crimes. His journey from high school bathroom incidents to registered sex offender illustrates the importance of early intervention. Throughout his story, there were numerous opportunities for intervention that were missed or inadequately addressed. Each missed opportunity allowed his behavior to escalate further, ultimately leading to physical sexual assault. His case provides a clear checklist of warning signs that should trigger immediate intervention: inappropriate sexual behavior, harassment of minors, misogynistic content creation, and escalating boundary violations. The most important aspect of this story is the courage shown by Ash's victims in coming forward and reporting his behavior. Their bravery likely prevented additional assaults and ensured that justice was served. Their willingness to report his behavior, despite the personal cost and potential retaliation, demonstrates the importance of supporting victims and encouraging reporting of sexual misconduct. The availability of support systems for victims, counseling services, legal assistance, and advocacy organizations proved crucial in helping them navigate the reporting and legal process. Avaneesh's case has implications for how institutions handle concerning behavior. The repeated failures to adequately address his conduct highlight the need for better policies and more consistent enforcement. The lack of information sharing between institutions allowed him to repeatedly transfer schools and avoid consequences. Better communication between them could prevent similar cases. The case demonstrates the need for proactive measures to identify and address concerning behavior before it escalates to physical violence. As of now, Avaneesh remains on the sex offender registry and continues to create disturbing content online. His lack of genuine remorse and continued inappropriate behavior suggest he remains a threat to public safety. His case will likely continue to unfold as he violates probation terms or commits additional offenses. The pattern of escalation and lack of rehabilitation submit this story is far from over. The online communities that continue to monitor his behavior serve an important function in documenting his actions and warning potential victims about his continued presence. This case highlights the responsibility we all have to recognize and report concerning behavior. Bystander intervention and community awareness can prevent escalation and protect potential victims. The various institutional failures in this case demonstrate the need for accountability and reform in how we handle reports of sexual misconduct and harassment.